Hello and welcome to another episode of Scott Reads Comics. Today I'm going to cover The Incredible Hulk 272, published in 1982 by Marvel Comics. This one has always been a fun one for me. It's always been special. I love the character of Sasquatch. Loved him since his first appearance in X-Men 120 and 121 with Alpha Flight. We didn't get many appearances of Alpha Flight prior to their series, which began in 1983. We had their first appearance, of course we had Weapon X / Vindicator / Guardian's first appearance in X-Men 109. And then in 1980, or I should say 1979, we had X-Men 120 and 121, the first full appearance of the team, Alpha Flight, and they faced off against the X-Men. A portion of the team, half of the team, returned in X-Men 139 and 140 for an incredible story, part of Byrne's, the end of Byrne's run on the title as artist. And those particular heroes, the half of Alpha Flight that showed up in X-Men 139 and 140 was Guardian, who I think called himself Vindicator at that time, Shaman, and Snowbird. So the other half of the what was then a 6-person team, they actually showed up that same year in Machine Man number 18, and that was Sasquatch, Northstar, and Aurora. After that, we had about a 2-year dry spell of no Alpha Flight until this issue came along. Although I think maybe in the interim, Sasquatch did show up in a Hulk annual, which I've touched on the show. So I'll have to get the dates on that one. Maybe I'll put it in the comments, the actual annual number and the dates. So Sasquatch shows up again here in Incredible Hulk 1982 with the Hulk and the Wendigo. This is a pretty incredible cover by Al Milgrom. Really dig it. It nicely shows the scale of the 3 characters, ratcheting up from Hulk, who's 7 feet, to Wendigo, who's 8.5 to 9 feet tall, and then Sasquatch, who's 10 feet tall. Just really cool use of scale and perspective here on this cover. And I love the blue background and the white snowscape. Really evocative. Really made my eyes light up when I saw it on the rack as a kid, and I snatched it up. And here we are. It's Weird Song of the Wendigo. Deep in the woods of northern Canada, an emerald beam of light stabs down out of the sky. Within its compass, man becomes monster, becomes man again. Beginning a brand new chapter in the life of the Incredible Hulk. Bill Mantlo and Sal Buscema, writer, storytellers, artist. Jim Novak, letters. Bob Sharon, colors. Al Milgrom, editor. Jim Shooter, editor-in-chief. So we are getting Sal pencils and inks here. And this is part of his epically long run on the book. He's in the thick of it here. Started all the way back before issue 200 with a few spells in between, a few guest artist stints in between, but mostly an uninterrupted run by Sal that will not be matched ever again, I would think. Maybe Eric Larson and Savage Dragon, I guess you could say, because he's got a 300-issue run going there, and that is incredible. Back to our story. Despite his snowscape surroundings, Dr. Bruce Banner is awash with sweat. How did I get here? Wait, I remember. So Banner recalls everything that happened, including the first appearance of Rocket Raccoon, Hulk's alliance with those furry animal heroes, and then they're sending him back using a gamma-irradiated transport beam to Earth. And that, his memory, his ability to remember all of those facts causes him to posit a question. So Uncle Pico did send me back to Earth after all. Me? No, the Hulk. How is it I now recall so vividly events in which I took part as my Emerald Alter Ego, when normally I only dimly remember what madness the Hulk is involved in? That is a question Bruce Banner will ponder later, should he survive. I'm freezing, must find shelter. Shelter in this wilderness? Well, perhaps this man who has been cursed in everything else will be blessed at least in that, perhaps. A cabin. Maybe there I'll be able to build a fire. Maybe I'll even find food. Or maybe there he will become food. A short distance away. It's insane to be moving through these woods at night, but I have no other choice. There is another hunter whom I must find, a hunter of men. Though he would rather he didn't, Dr. Walter Lankowski remembers that night. So this we have Walter Lankowski, who is, of course, Sasquatch's alter ego. He had been camping when he heard the screams, yes, screams, human voices raised in terror, and some savage, snarling, guttural wail torn from no human throat. As he ran, he began to mouth the silent mantra, syllables of power which moved him towards a greater power within, power waiting to be unleashed. Once again, Sasquatch strode the frozen north. I do like Sal's version of Sasquatch. He's a hard character to draw well. I think Sal does a nice job. No one draws him as well as John Byrne, his creator, but Sal does just fine. Still, he did not move fast enough to prevent a tragedy. A camper overturned. One side of it's crushed in. I've seen grizzlies do that to canned foods left at picnic sites, but no grizzly did this. Blood on the snow, human blood. What remained of those who'd been dragged from the camper lay before him. It was difficult to tell how many there'd been. Something killed those campers, tore them limb from limb, and was getting ready to feast when it heard me coming through the forest. It could only be those footprints. It was him. And here we have a nice recap of some of the events I talked about. Not long ago, Dr. Walter Lankowski was a member of a team of Canadian super agents known by the code name Alpha Flight. 3 of them teamed up to join with the 2 X-Men, Wolverine and Nightcrawler, to combat an unholy terror called the Wendigo. Flashback, courtesy of X-Men 139 and 140. An eater of human flesh, the Wendigo was nearly invincible. Though beaten, he would have risen again and again, had not Shaman reversed the curse of the North Woods and made the monster human once more. Vindicator showed me plaster casts he's made of the Wendigo's tracks. They were the same as those back at the campsite. So a new Wendigo stalks again. A supernaturally spawned creature whom I told almost managed to slay the Incredible Hulk a few years back. And that was in the Immortal Hulk 162 and then 180 and 181. Not a comforting thought, since the Hulk easily beat me. So that was in Hulk Annual number 8, Sasquatch remembers. Wendigo's killed, but he hasn't eaten. Soon he'll be so hungry, I won't scare him off. Then I'll have to battle to keep myself from becoming food. Then we have a scene switch here, back to the deserts, away from the Great White North, to the deserts, where it's been the Hulk's base on and off for years. And we have Barit, Betty Ross, and in a gamma-irradiated Rick Jones, who had tried to make himself into a Hulk and only sickened himself. And of course, they're discussing events that will play out and pay off in later issues. Now back to the Great White North. Meanwhile, in the frozen north, we find a nearly frozen Dr. Banner. Gotta keep going. Not much further now. The cabin stands empty, its door ajar. It is as cold within as without, and darker, not having the benefit of starlight. Ow! Banner's fall is fortuitous, for it brings his hand in contact with a flashlight, and it works. But what does it illuminate? Horrified, Bruce Banner falls back against an inner door, unlocked. It swings easily open. This is the pantry. These had once lived here. The meat has long been gnawed off their bones. It's a pretty grisly sight. Heart pounding, mouth dry, breath coming in short rasps. Bruce Banner bolts from the charnel closet. It has not yet occurred to him that despite all his horror, all his fear, the excitement he is experiencing has yet to trigger his change to the Incredible Hulk. Why? I've got to get out of here. Whatever killed those poor devils ate them. Then he realizes that a shadow has blocked the moonlight streaming through the door. He feels the hot, moist breath on his shoulder. He turns and knows terror to the core of his being. Classic Sal here with that gaping mouth. Wendigo! There would seem to be no more adequate introduction. Indeed, one scarcely seems necessary, for Bruce Banner may not live long enough to get better acquainted. Something pulled that monster off me. Who? What? And I just have to stop here. This is such a great panel. Sal is so good at drawing monsters and the monstrous foes of the Hulk, and his Wendigo is excellent. Much more like Byrne's Wendigo than Trimpe's was, and Trimpe, of course, the original artist and creator of the Wendigo. So Sal is following the John Byrne model of the sort of the cooler looking, more ape-like Wendigo. And this incredible page here, wow. The gentle beast's name is Sasquatch. Sorry, Wendigo, no human flesh tonight. Try chicken delight. Wendigo. Excitement, horror, fear, terror. Bruce Banner has experienced them all in the space of a few short minutes. And yet he still has not changed from man to monster. Why? Get out of here while you can, friend. I don't know how long I can even hold the Wendigo. Banner? Bruce Banner? What are you doing here? Shop. Wendigo. Sasquatch, a Canadian scientist come superhero. I fought him once as the Hulk. Now he's down and that slavering horror is going for his throat. I've got to help. I just realized I haven't become the Hulk. Why? Why in heaven's name not? For weeks, Bruce Banner has been bombarding himself with gamma rays in his under-the-desert laboratory in an effort to cure himself of ever becoming the Hulk again. It hadn't worked then, but the ray treatment's effect had been cumulative. Then, in the act of defeating the Galaxy Master, the Hulk was infused with even more gamma radiation than ever before in his emerald existence. The rays helped destroy the Galaxy Master. Their effects remained in the Hulk's cells. Lastly, the transporter beam which Uncle Pico had used to return the Hulk to Earth was gamma-powered. Those rays, too, were absorbed by the man-monster. All that gamma radiation absorbed into my cells in so short a time. Can it have somehow changed me? Am I cured at last, now when I need the Hulk's power most? Run, Banner, can't hold him long. And you can see Sasquatch alone is not in the Wendigo's class, which is kind of cool. Very well illustrated here through this storytelling. Run. How far could I get? I'd rather die of exposure or be dragged back here for dinner. I can't die like that. I won't. Blast it. I deserve better after the life I've led. If I'm cursed, I deserve a chance to live. Oh, he says, apologize. If I'm cured, I deserve a chance to live. That desire triggers something within the mind of Bruce Banner. And for the first time, the mind triggers change within the body. Not really the first time. This has happened before in the Hulk's long run. During the Trimpe era, he briefly had the ability to control the Hulk and have his own mind. Hold on, Sasquatch, I'm coming. Listen to the words, listen to their intonation. The voice is that of Bruce Banner. The powerhouse speaking is the Incredible Hulk. Get off him, you snarling savage horror. Get off him, I say. Wham! Brack. Wendigo! I heard you the first time, you illiterate obscenity. I'm not impressed. The Hulk speaking like Bruce Banner. And thinking like Bruce Banner, Sasquatch. Though I wonder what it is that gives Banner the confidence to hurl himself headlong upon this howling horror. Perhaps it's the knowledge that he's possessed of the power of the Incredible Hulk, the mightiest mortal on the face of the earth. I must be dreaming. The Hulk is a brainless brute. Well, not exactly brainless, childlike, subject to savage, unreasoning rages. I know, I barely survived one myself. Yet now I'm hearing the Green Goliath enumerating like the famous physicist his hapless alter ego, Bruce Banner. Something must have happened to make the intelligent side of the Hulk's split personality, the Banner side, ascendant. But can even a thinking Hulk triumph over the invincible Wendigo? Just what is the Wendigo, and whence stems his unearthly invincibility? The answer lies in an ancient curse, which descended upon the very cabin outside of which our three monsters fight. So here we're getting a bit of an aside here. So this individual turned to cannibalism in the North Woods, and the curse of the Wendigo fell upon him. Wendigo can't really die, but he can be subdued. That would give me time to call my teammate Shaman to get up here and cast a counterspell. It's up to the Hulk and me to hold him. If only I can make the Hulk understand. Of course I can. I forgot. I'm dealing with an intelligent Hulk. Now a Hulk thinking with Bruce Banner's brain. But is that good or bad? Wendigo is motivated by brute bloodlust. He won't be fighting the Queensbury rules. He'll be going straight for the jugular, which is what we've got to do if we're going to defeat him. In fact, that's how Wolverine and Snowbird beat him last time, by becoming even more animalistic than Wendigo. This may be a battle where brains are a definite liability. Still, it is a battle that must be fought. Wendigo! I'm growing extremely tired of hearing that tune, friend. The melody fails to move me. Besides, your breath smells of an appetite too abhorrent to mention. I think I'll just shut your mouth and end your song forever. That's better. I like the crescendo of pain you reached on that last note. It will never equal listening to the Beethoven's Ode to Joy, but from you, it's a sound I wouldn't mind hearing again. Getting to your feet, eh? That's good. Gives me another chance to knock you down. So Banner is exulting in his power, really monologuing a bit here in a very erudite fashion, but he gets surprised. Faced with his slavering, screaming, seemingly undefeatable horror, the mind of Bruce Banner knows a moment of fear. And it is that moment, hesitancy, that is the Hulk's undoing. Slash. You drew blood. You hurt me. Get away. Murderous man-eater. I'll beat you into a bloody pulp. Do you hear me? Hulk will smash. Good Lord, he's slipping into savagery of the Hulk. If he does, I won't be able to count on his help. Dr. Banner, listen to me. Huh? Why should Hulk listen to Harry Man? Because you're not the Hulk anymore. Mentally, you're Bruce Banner. And it's Bruce Banner's help I need now. Banner? Yes, I'm Bruce Banner. Good. Remember that. And listen to me. The Wendigo can't be destroyed, but he can be subdued long enough for me to summon someone I know to cure him. You want him subdued, Lankowski? Then he'll be subdued. All I've got to do is keep hammering away at him, and eventually he'll fall down, right? Yes, and he'll get right up, unless we lay him out so hard and long that he'll need the time to heal. Time will deny him. We, Dr. Banner, we've got to go at Wendigo together, or we haven't a snowball's chance. Great sense of urgency communicated by Sal here on Sasquatch's expression. I don't see that, Sasquatch. I seem to be holding my own against that albino abomination without any help from you. For heaven's sake, Dr. Banner, this isn't a contest, isn't it? My strength, the Hulk's strengths against Wendigo. It's a sparring match I find oddly enjoyable, Doctor. I'm surprised you don't understand. After all, you and I are remarkably similar now. I'm not interested in matching muscles with a murdering monster, Dr. Banner. I only want to stop Wendigo from killing again. Nothing wrong with that, Lankowski. I just wanted to have a little pleasure in the process. The pleasure of possessing and consciously controlling more power than I've ever known in my life. But you've been the Hulk for years. Not me, Doctor. Not Bruce Banner. I've always been the puny, helpless man inside the monster. Today, Bruce Banner is the Incredible Hulk. Thrakum! I love this panel where they each use these two huge dead trees to pummel Wendigo between them. With that startling revelation, the Wendigo becomes the immovable force between two irresistible objects. The pain he knows is greater than any beast, supernatural or otherwise, can stand. It will take him hours to heal, and by that time, he will be the Wendigo no longer. We've done it. We've stopped him. Did you ever doubt we would? Yes, I'm exhausted. Had the Wendigo attacked me again, I would have fallen for sure. I've got a radio back in my camp. Must contact the RCMPs and get Shaman up here to cast a counterspell. You do that, Lankowski. I'll stand guard over our fallen horror here. Should he wake up, I'll lay him low again, because Mr. the Incredible Hulk is just getting warmed up. Despite the obvious intelligence in the words, Sasquatch detects a mounting savagery in the voice. He wonders if the monster's lying on the snow is the one he should be worried about, or whether the world must now be protected from an intelligent Hulk. Be here in 30 days when Bruce Banner learns once a Hulk, always a Hulk, plus the insectoids. So that's it, a great issue. Here's a Green Skins grab bag. We've got a letter from TM Maple here. Great letter hack from years gone by. I'll just read a bit of it. Dear editor, so the High Evolutionary dies in the Incredible Hulk 266. This isn't going to be another letter protesting the killing off of an interesting and significant character. No, it's a letter stating my belief that I don't really think the High E is dead. So TM goes on to list the reasons why he believes the High Evolutionary will return. And of course, he's right. He eventually does return. But let me revisit this last panel here, because from issue 272 to issue 300, essentially, or 299, and including appearances in the Secret Wars and some other books, Banner controls the Hulk. And we get a really interesting extended look at how that will play out. But in this one panel, we get a hint, and this is something, a seed that Bill Mantlo planted from the very beginning of this storyline, that it might not always be, that there could be an element of danger lurking within the Hulk still, even though Banner was in control of him. And I like that. It was cool. And at the time, we kind of took that as a warning. It wasn't always going to be, because of course you knew Banner could never really find happiness, because that removing that pathos would really take away from the character overall in his journey and experience. But a great issue, a really great monster fight issue, a three-way fight, or a 2-on-1 fight, if you will, between Wendigo and Hulk and Sasquatch. Had the two of them not teamed up, maybe they wouldn't have been able to subdue him. I know Sasquatch couldn't have done it on his own, and of course, Hulk may not have done it on his own either. But a really great issue. One of my favorites, long been one of my favorites. Finally glad I got to go through it in detail here on the show. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends, and I'll bring you more soon on Scott Reads Comics. Thanks for watching.